underrepresentation of women and girls and their experience with police brutality. So is that something that you think is true? Do you also believe that there is a lack of representation in the movement when it comes to, Black girls and our experiences?
Say absolutely. There is an underrepresentation of us protesting, voicing our frustration, and sometimes rioting for the rights of Black women who've been suffering right along with the brothers, as well as putting up and pushing us forward to the forefront, and pushing us forward to the forefront, and pushing us forward to the forefront. Pushing us forward to the forefront so often. So we definitely do. I've been seeing the trend protect our Black women, and I kind of noticed that when I put up protect our Black women, I would say 80% of women like it, but only 20% are men that like it. Mm-hmm. And even so much so, I put up the post on Facebook. A brother got on there and said he was offended that I said protect Black women, mm-hmm. and that I should say protect everybody. But I was like, the women are always here from us. You come from a woman. Your daughters will grow up to be women. Why don't we man up? And I think some of us have this Willie Lynch syndrome going on, where we're trapped in, and we still feel entrapped and in battle, and we're battling, so don't know how to battle for our women rightly. But that trend breaks right now. It's like I have a daughter, and I'm laying it all on the line for her, my mom, my sister, my aunts, you, and Black women matter. And that trend needs to be there. It's like while we say Black lives matter, Black women matter. That needs to push forward. Many of these tragedies focus around young men, but women are not just getting killed, but they're getting raped, they're getting molested. Brothers don't stand up. So yeah, it is high past time for people to say, Black women, you matter, we love you. And that needs to be the trend going forward. If you ask me, Black women, you matter, we love you. And that needs to be the trend. Black women, you matter, we love you. And that needs to be the trend going forward. If you ask me, that encompasses everybody when you say that. I'm laying it all on the line for her, my mom, my sister, my aunts, you, and Black women matter. And that trend needs to be there.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh, and double honors to the elder apostles and even the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors also to you, brethren, you followers of the truth, and shalom to the elect. So anyway, I came across this video with this Jake that says he's separating Black women from Black lives. So now we can see that when it says Black lives matters, Black lives matter. Now he's taking women and extracting them out of lives, which lives are supposed to be for men and women. And the Black Lives BLM movement was funded by Juris and other his men. Let me say that. So they were funded, and not only that, the Black woman is funded in general. Let's keep it real. All of them is funded. All of them is getting paid. It's just that now Eve sees herself on a throne. What Eve wants in the mindset of the spirit is the men to be over them, but they don't understand that they've been lifted up high and above the average man. So even though they're taking the amenities, they're taking all the luxuries and things that is given, they're not going to turn that down for the sake of men being over them. So if you want to protect the Black woman, she would have to give up her actual protection. She would have to give up the police department. She would have to give up the judicial system. She'll have to stop taking you to child support, alimony. She'll have to stop suing you, because that's all it is when you get a divorce, is being sued. And then they're so much smart enough now, well, in their mindset, they're over certain jakes, so they're not going to get married to a man that makes just as much as they make. So this is why you don't see the cars riding up down the street with just got married on the back like you did 30 years ago. And a majority of those men are in divorce and unprotected. A lot I can't say in this video. But anyway, you see how this woman is sitting here in the middle, and you have all the jakes surrounded them. This is nothing new. Ecclesiastes 1:9, nothing new under the sun. This is just what happened in Babylon. You can read the book of Jeremiah, the 44th chapter, right? This is nothing new. They would do anything to serve the Queen of Heaven. The Queen of Heaven goes back to ancient Samaria, right? Which was the prayer for harlots, believe it or not, right? So anyway, let me get some scriptures. A lot of these men got these daughters. A lot of them got daughters. I have family members who, well, one in particular who has a daughter, and all he talks about is uplifting her. Now look up the word woman in the online etymology, and you'll get an understanding what a woman is. But as these men teaching their women to be, their young daughters to be women? No. And are the daughters teaching the young men, the mothers, are they, there's no excuse for being a parent. Whether the father there or not, there's no excuse for not being a parent. What about the squeegee kids, man? What about these young men running around with blunts in their mouth? What about all this madness that's going on with these young jakes, man? But you know what the men will do? They'll get a Black Lives March for men. They'll get men together to try to save the black youth. All of a sudden, when it comes to parenting, the men has to be on board and take responsibility. But the woman, she never has to take responsibility for being a parent. She never has to take responsibility. In fact, she gets accolades when the so-called black man does good in sports and be a good basketball player. Then all of a sudden, she gets the accolades, she gets the high praise and the queen. Even these young men in death is not even so-called upheld in that movement of Black Lives Matter. All the jakes are killing themselves. That don't matter. Only when a white cop kills them. You can't make this stuff up. And then all of a sudden, their life matter. But now, the black woman lives is separate from lives in general. That's sick, man. Ecclesiastes 25:13. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, right? We'll see this with Solomon, right? And any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman, right? And any affliction but the affliction from them that hate me, okay? And we know who hate us. And any revenge but the revenge of our enemies. So we have to understand that Eve is in bed. She, just like Apostle Tahar said, saw that video, Eve is the number one pit bull and has been. And nothing new. She'd been a pit bull before. I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked Eve, right? Which it says wicked woman. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance in sackcloth. Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth shall sigh bitterly. All these jakes, I guarantee you, I talked about 5, 10, 15 of them in a few months past. You can go to every jake, and they all talk about how miserable they are, right? They all talk about how miserable. Why? Because everything's out of order, right? These they're not set up in order. They're not holding accountability. They're all out of control, man. Okay? Anyway, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman, but let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. So, hey, That's why you 2/3, you don't understand what's going on. And a lot of you Jakes know. I've had talks with you Jakes. You Jakes come up to the camp. A lot of you know. You've seen it. We spoke with you, even in the truth. And Jake will still get taken. I knew a guy in this camp that got taken. I knew quite a few Jakes in the truth that got taken by Eve, man. These scriptures are for you. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure. Now, is this saying that you can't really desire a woman and can't like a woman or love a woman and be with a woman? That's not saying that. But the scripture says stumble not, meaning don't get caught up in the trap, because most of them are set up for traps. A lot of them are set up. That's why they throwing that extra makeup on. When you look up the word makeup, it means to cover something that is used up. In the Merriam-Webster, you can look that up. It means to cover something that is used up. So you're not supposed to desire. You're not supposed to stumble at the beauty of Eve, man. That's why you get taken. Meaning you're supposed to stay ahead of the game, so to speak. You ain't supposed to fall into a trap. Don't let her catch you looking at and overly with your tongue lusting over her, man. Don't let her see that. That's how a lot of you Jakes get caught up, man. They claim to like it, but that's them taking you as in that snare, in that trap. So you're supposed to always act like you don't give a damn. If a woman, if she maintain her husband, she is full of anger and prudence and much reproach. And all of them are maintaining their husbands. This is why it's not even good to deal with them on some levels. Right? Because if you do get involved, guess what? She's going to maintain you. How? Through her system. Let me say that. Through the serpent system who got you. Talking about protect. They already protected. The only way you Jakes can protect them is when the people who are protecting them is taken out of power, so you can do that. But until then, as long as she can hit that 911, as long as she can file that pen and get that subpoena and take your ass to court with the Eve sitting up there as the judge, you in trouble. Don't say you ain't been warned. Anyway, a wicked woman abateth the carriage and maketh an heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. That's why I got all the picture up here. A lot of you Jakes don't even know what happened when she got pregnant, so to speak. You don't know. Let's go to this article. So it says a woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees, because you're there as a helpmeet. I guarantee you. But the ideology now for society is the man is supposed to do everything. The man is supposed to comfort her and do this and that. But there's nothing being pushed that women are supposed to love their men. It's not being pushed. In fact, it's not even being pushed that they're supposed to love their black children. Let me read this little article. The brutal killing of George Floyd by a police officer in Minneapolis put the issue of racial injustice, which we know what that is, at the center of national attention. Even Planned Parenthood and organizations founded on the racist philosophy of eugenics spoke out. Says against racial injustice by tweeting Black Lives Matter, and yet the abortion industry kills an estimated 649 preborn black babies every single day. And this is what get me right here. It says abortion is disproportionately affects black people and minority women, according to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. So you have here the Center of Disease Control and Prevention giving statistics on black babies being killed. Remember, listen to the words. Listen to the acronym, Center for Disease and Control. That's the key word, control. right? Control. They're even calling this a plague, but they're not stopping it. And it says black women account of 38% of all U.S. abortions. And this is statistics, right? We probably know it's more than that. But let's say that's the case. This is not, the best way I'm going to say it is non-info. Okay? It accounts for 38% of all U.S. abortions, even though black Americans make up 12% of the U.S. population. So you got to read this here. It says 38% of all U.S. abortions that black women make up, even though black Americans, now notice they didn't say black women. So they make up a total of 38% of all abortions. You can do the numbers, it's astronomical. Although Americans, this is talking about men and women, only make up 12%. So how much percentage is made up of just the woman? This is crazy, man. Even though the black Americans we only make up 12% of the population. That's crazy. So you can imagine the amount of abortions that's being put out there. Then they go on to say this is a tragedy, but it would be short-sighted to ignore the underlying historical reasons abortions disproportionately affects this community, which is not a community because a community would agree on every damn thing. But the Center for Disease Control even has an issue with this. But they'll continue to do it. And they'll continue to push for it. As you can't tell me that's not curses, man. We under some serious curses. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 7:26. And I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands are bands. Whosoever pleaseth Yahweh shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. So clearly, this was what Paul was going into. This is what Apostle Paul was going into in those churches with the bishops. Because these women were laying with all kinds of men and then flip-flopping amongst all different kind of men, and then would go to the bishops and lay with them. But even though the bishops didn't know that they were just divorced from other women. And it was just all kind of sickness and madness. This is the madness that we see going on today. And what is the main reason for this? No order, no control. You've taken a weaker vessel and made them strong and put no kind of control, no leash on the wickedness that's being promoted. No leash, no control. And we know what happens when you take children and you let them run wild into a candy store. They'll eat that shit all day, every day, even though it's not good for them. Anyway, I just thought this was crazy that this man said that black women's lives matter. It should be separated from actual black lives, although black lives include black women as well, and supposedly children. So I find that kind of crazy. These simps will go through every hoop imaginable to appease them. And it's probably because we don't know what side of the fence he's on, if he's set up. But that's how the thirsty jakes get down. And I guarantee you they all rolling over them, man. These simps, the women like them because they know what they can do. That's all I have on that. Shalom.